Hey, so today is my second day here in the Czech Republic. This trip is going to be one of my longer trips. I am going to the Czech Republic, then Greece, then Egypt, and because I have such a diverse itinerary, packing has been its own unique challenge, but I think I have most of what I need. Even to the last minute, I was still second guessing, like, do I have my passport? Do I have enough pants? Do I have, something to keep me warm? But I have what I have now, and anything else is going to have to be improvised, and I will be okay. So the journey from California out to Europe was a little bit long. Still a little tired, but feeling pretty good. And I had a really good first day. So first day, went out and checked out one of the local markets and saw some of the vendors, then went to the Prague Old Time Square. And you can literally do 3 or 4 big sites in that small vicinity. Like, you can see the astronomical clock, you can get into a church, you can see a couple of museums there, and it is so easy. All of it's really close and really convenient to each other. After that, I had lunch and then walked across the bridge. On the other side, you have the Prague Castle, and inside the Prague Castle, you have a few sites there as well. You have the cathedral and a couple other museums. So my first impression of Prague is that it is a charming city. So when I think about like a fairy tale town, a fairy tale European town, I think about like cobblestone streets and castles and Gothic architecture and like clockwork and toys and candy shops and markets, and Prague embodies all of that. And even though they are a modern player in the European scene, they still retain so much of their charm and just the simplicity and the other timeliness. Like, it feels like it still retains that quality of years past. So having a great time here in Prague, and I'm enjoying its unique charm, and gonna get ready for dinner and try some of the local cuisine. There's a couple things I want to try. They seem to have a lot of pork dishes here, so gonna give it a go and see what the pork knuckle's all about, and maybe try one of the chimney cakes too. But as for now, off to dinner, and I will catch up with you later. All right, bye. Just got to Athens. We left Prague around like 4 this afternoon, and then got into Athens a little while ago. Had dinner. It's pretty late already, but got into our rooms, and my room's little, but here, let me show you. Turn this around. So, it's little, but in spite of it being little, I have the best view, and it's so cool because I remember being 17, turning 18, looking at the same building, looking at the Acropolis and looking at the architecture. So kind of a sweet memory for me, but need to get ready for bed tomorrow. Gonna go check it out in person. So, all right, I'll catch you guys. Hey, good morning. So Today I am in Santorini. We've been in Santorini for a few days now. We left Athens and we came out here in the night, so we didn't get to see anything because everything was, just shrouded in darkness. But first day, Ashe met up with us, so it's so nice to have our full travel crew back together. And then yesterday we took the day and explored the whole island. So we got to see from the northern point to the southern point and everything in between. So that was really cool. And today we're going to be taking a boat out to Milos. So we have a boat ride to another island. But I wanted to show you the house and this amazing view. So check this out. So here is the house. This is the hot tub. We had dinner out here during sunset. And then these blue domes are our neighbor. And then this is the view. Just right out into the caldera. And the sun sets just right over there. And every morning is just like this. And for me, the morning is my favorite time. It's quieter, a little bit calmer. There's still people out. There's always going to be people out because the view's it's just amazing. So there'll always be people taking it in. But as for me, I need to get myself packed and ready for Milos. It's a day trip, so we'll be back here this evening, but we'll catch up with you later. Today is our last day in Greece, last day in Santorini. Yesterday we took a boat out to Milos. The boat ride was super fun. It was about 2 hours from the port to Milos. When we got to Milos, we got a rental car, drove out, had lunch, went to Sarakino beach. We had the beach to ourselves. There was literally no one else there because it was off season, but it's one of those, like, enjoying something like that when it's just you makes it that much more enjoyable because you get to take it in solo and have it to yourself for that minute. So one of the perks of traveling in the off season. So today is my first day here in Egypt. Yesterday we left Greece, we left Santorini, and leaving's always hard, and especially when you're leaving somewhere that beautiful. You have this great place you're calling home temporarily with the beautiful view, and when it's time to go, you have to pack up and leave. But Santorini is one of those places where I'm pretty sure I'll visit again because it was just amazing. But on to Cairo and on to Egypt. So last night we got in. You can't see anything at night, so you just kind of show up, and it's like being blindfolded. You don't know where you're staying. You don't know what anything looks like. So this morning, woke up and was pleasantly surprised by, let me show you this. That view of the pyramids just right out my window. So that's pretty cool. But today we're going to be going to visit the pyramids, the Sphinx, and all the stuff in that immediate area. So got up a little bit early to put my backpack together so I have everything that I need for the day. Yeah, gonna go have breakfast and see what's there to see. So anyway, bye. Hey there, so it is morning. I am tired. I've been up since about 2:30. we had an awesome day yesterday. We had a long day yesterday. We went to the pyramids of Djoser, the pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx. Got to check out a couple other cool sites around Cairo. So when most people think about Egypt and Cairo, they think about the Sphinx and the pyramids of Giza. But today we're doing a day trip out to Luxor, and then over there we're going to be doing seeing the Valley of the Kings and seeing what is there to see in Luxor. So it's a day trip, and it requires a flight super early in the morning, and then we're coming back late. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what another Egyptian city looks like, and what to see, or I want to see what the famous Valley of the Kings looks like. So getting my backpack packed up and getting ready for a long day. All right, I will check in later. Okay, so today is my last day here in Egypt. It's the last day of the trip. Started in Prague in the Czech Republic. Did Athens, Milos, and Santorini in Greece, and did Cairo and Luxor in Egypt. Where I left off last was I was just about to go on to that day trip to Luxor. Luxor, I got a good taste of it in one day, but would say you probably need 2 or 3 days. We went to a few temples that were along the Nile, and the architecture, like the columns and the arches, is just amazing to see. Like how they're able to craft these tall columns and these obelisks from stone, and they're beautifully made. So it was great to see that. It feels like you're in, another time when you're walking through there. So after that, we went to Valley of the Kings and got to see the hieroglyphs and explore the tombs firsthand. And I still can't believe that I get to be face to face with, human architecture and art and culture from years and years and years ago. It makes you appreciate it more. It makes you more excited to learn, and it just feels more meaningful as you walk away from the place. Like the things are just now a part of your experience. So got to eat lunch overlooking the Nile, and I felt like we were able to get a little closer to the Nile more easily here when we were in Luxor. We came back, and then the following day we checked out a lot of the churches and mosques. So Egypt has had a rich history with religion and politics, and it's all intertwined. And the guy that was showing us around presented it to us in a really clever way, showing how as one group fell out of favor, or as one group transitioned into power, what would happen with the architecture, what would happen with the religions, what would happen with contemporary life in each of those times. And he did it by walking us through different churches and kind of explaining the different groups that were using these institutions. So my favorite mosque was the Saladin Cairo Citadel. So side story, doesn't actually affect the journal, but I was taking pictures with Asha, Simon, and Sharmella, and I noticed I noticed when we were taking pictures on the outside's beautiful. It's this white marble and alabaster. So, you know, the pictures themselves are just, like, you can tell it's going to be a beautiful photo. And, you know, we're enjoying this architecture and these colors. And I noticed there's some schoolgirls looking at us. And I think, like, oh yeah, they're probably looking at us like, wow, they're dressed differently. Or, like, you know, a lot of times the kids are looking at, you know, what Asha and Sharmella, they're like, oh yeah, like, we don't see people like that very often. They're more curious about the girls wearing, you know, jewelry and having their hair down. But we go in and we walk all the way to the main altar, and one of the girls comes up to me and she's holding her phone and she's like, picture. And I think, hey, yeah, I can take your picture. Like, where do you want me to, you know, snap your photo? And she shakes her head and she's like, no, that's not what I want. And I can hear her friends chuckle in the background. And then she turns the phone around and she's like, selfie. And I'm trying to figure out, why does she want me to take a selfie? And she can tell I'm still confused. So she turns the camera and she positions it. I'm like, oh, you want a picture with me? So I was like, okay, let's do that. And while we're doing that, there's like a crowd of her, you know, classmates. And we snap the picture and, you know, obviously, hey, flattered, that's really cool. But I didn't realize that I was going to be opening up a whole can of worms. So she zips off to the side, and then another girl comes up and she's like, hey, picture. And my first reaction was like, okay, I can take your picture. And she's like, no, selfie. And I'm like, oh, you want a picture as well? So I know I'm a special type of stupid with that. And then she takes the picture, and then I was like, cool, okay, this is done. I was wrong. I had to repeat that a few more times of taking pictures with the kids. And we asked the guide, and he was like, yeah, they don't always see Western people. And it was really cool. It was flattering that they would want a picture, and flattering and confusing, but you know, for that moment, I understood what Justin Bieber goes through, what the Jonas Brother goes through. So, empathy for everybody. Anyways, today we went out to the Oasis, and the Oasis was a lot bigger than I realized. You know, I was imagining this small pond-like situation with greenery around it. But the reality is the Oasis is massive, and it doesn't have a whole lot of greenery to it, but it's massive, and it does provide a lot of water for that neighboring agriculture. So we got to check out the desert, got to check out the Oasis, and it was a nice last day. It was a really nice last day. You know, as I'm wrapping up this trip, I do recognize that this is one of those trips where I don't know if I'm going to be back to Egypt anytime soon. I mean, I know I'm not coming back like next year, but it just seems like it might be a one-time thing, and that makes me sad, because there's other places in the world that I know I'm going to come back to, because I just know I will. Like, I know I will be back in Paris one day. I know I will be back in Tokyo one day. I just know I will. But I don't know if I'll be back in Cairo, and I don't know. And, you know, you look at all the things that you did, and you look at all the things that you weren't able to do, and I'd like to say I'd come back and do some more, but right now I'm satisfied with what I did in Egypt. And I think that's the reason why I'm not like jumping at another Egypt trip. So like when I went to Iceland, I went when it was cold, so I didn't get to see all the summer stuff. So I'm still itching to go to Iceland, but I feel like I did a lot of wonderful like Egyptian, sightseeing, and I got a chance to try the food and talk to people and feel like I got the Egyptian experience that I imagined and then some. So it's always bittersweet as you wrap up, but home is always good, and I think we have another 3-4 hours, maybe 5. We have to go to the airport around midnight, and our flight's at like 3:45 in the morning. So the journey home begins soon. Anyway, before I say goodbye, I still can't believe that is my view. That is amazing. And getting ready, passport, computer. I think I've reworn my clothes. Probably, I think I've worn everything at least 3 or 4 times, but everything will be washed, and I have one set of clean clothes to go home. But for now, that is a wrap on Prague, Egypt, and Greece. So, till the next trip.